ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the Salem Indoor. My dad and our family drove through the night from Red Bluff, California, from Perpetual Trophy Night down there to Salem to compete in tonight's Bob and Linda Leach Memorial, which pays $2,000 to win the open class. Haven't been to this track in probably 6 or 7 years, but it is exactly how I remember. Just a big flat dirt track, you know, it's pretty good size. Probably gonna be fighting for the bottom, pretty much no banking, and they run all sorts of classes. So we're gonna get everything underway. Just happy that we made it. A lot could have went wrong, but our weekend so far has went to plan. So we have about 30 minutes before the pit meeting begins, and then the whole night we're gonna get hot laps qualifying, multiple heat races, and then an A main event. So we'll keep you guys all in the loop, and the main focus is here at the beginning, since we do get a chance to go on hot lap and not be timed, to get our race car better and figure out, you know, if our setup is close and how we can adjust it, and also make sure our gearing is correct. Has officially begun. I feel like we're a little bit on the struggle bus. We'll see where we just timed in. Went out in hot laps, didn't feel very good. Just way too tight. And I know what was causing that. So I came in, changed it, and we were basically on the THR baseline. Like, this is where I would roll out for Roseburg, tried to put it on for here, and it was much better, but I just don't feel like I'm making a lot of great corner speed. I feel like I still have too much left rear drive, center off, and I'm just not coming off the corner straight, and I almost have too much side bite in for the track conditions. Now, once it slicks off, I feel like we're gonna be good, but it's almost just a little too hooked up right now. The harder I tried to drive the car in, it just started to bounce, and then when I backed off, I feel like I'm just not going fast enough. So we're gonna kind of try to find a happy medium. I actually think where we are after qualifying was way better than hot laps, so we can work on it, and we'll kind of also have to see where we end up timing in, as we don't have access to where we're at the moment, and then kind of just go from there. Well, some good news for you guys. Actually ended up qualifying third quick out of, I believe, like 38 to 40 opens here at Salem. Great car count, great competition, and the main thing coming to a track like this, like, it's just hard to know where you stack up. I didn't feel great out there for qualifying, but I think the main factor too that I'm not taking into consideration is how flat the track is. So it just almost feels like you're leaning the wrong way almost. So we were only half a tenth off quick time, so I think our car is actually, I think it's good, and I think the track might start to come to us as it like gets worked in more and possibly starts to go slick. So I'm not really going to touch anything for this upcoming heat race, because we start on the pole, and then the next round we're going to start last. So hopefully I can just check out here, run some more laps, try to learn about the surface, and learn about maybe how I can make my race car better. Right now I've just only got a couple laps at full speed, and both of them were different track conditions. So I don't want to make too many crazy changes. I actually think we're all right. Go out here, run this heat race from the pole, see how we do, and try to you know, run as far up front as we can. How did I look?
You look good.
Was I gone?
Yeah. Yeah, you were gone, but you got to get everybody on the start, because once they spread out,
yeah,
after a lap or two, because Woodcock couldn't get back to anybody. He finished like 4th.
So we led every lap of the heat race there. Felt good to get out front and just kind of start getting more acclimated to this racetrack. I was a little puzzled after qualifying in hot laps, but I feel completely different now that we're able to go out and win that. Moving on now to heat race number 2. We're going to be starting either in the 3rd or 4th row on the outside, and it's pretty simple. It's go time. We have to move forward, and we have to do it early in the heat because guys easily can spread out, and on a racetrack of this size, it's hard to start catching them because you can run out of laps quick and it's hard to make up distance. The other thing, I'm trying to figure out if I want to make changes to the car or not. I was really happy with it. I'm still a little tight on entry, but I just don't want to get too comfortable with where I'm at and not make changes to become better throughout the night. But it's tough to make changes when you feel as good as I did. So no matter what, we're going to be rolling off deep in this heat race. I'm going to think on some setup stuff, and we're not going to change too much if we do, but we're just going to try to find a little bit more drive. Both heat races are now complete. Probably should have got a tiny bit more aggressive with our car there before that second round. I was debating, and I did a couple of minor things that should have just given me a little bit more drive, but it just wasn't enough. The racetrack started to go away, and I'm not saying other guys necessarily got faster, but I was just kind of the same speed as them, and I just wasn't able to really make up a lot of ground, and even when I did, it was never enough to be able to pull a move. And also at the same time, with just how this place is, I mean, you're fighting for the bottom, and I feel like also in the situation I was in, and this is not an excuse, this is my fault, I probably almost was overdriving the car a little bit because you're trying to make up ground, and when you're chasing that rabbit, you're almost driving harder, which sometimes with this, it's better to back off. So I feel like our car just needs just a little bit more through the center. It just doesn't make enough corner speed. Like, I get in good, but as I get off the gas, I talked about my car needs to be moving forward, and it's just not. So we're gonna make some adjustments, and we're gonna have a dash coming up, and we're gonna make some major changes. I would say throw in the kitchen sink at it to see what we can do, and since that dash doesn't mean anything, it's just for some extra money. So we'll make those changes and see if they help. Well, I can tell you one thing, we are not screwing around in tonight's A main. 2 brand new sticker tires. We are only going 20 laps. 20 laps for $2 grand, and we are going to be rolling off from 4th after our heat race finishes of 1st and 3rd. Got to run that dash and feel much better after the dash. You know, today, and just like when we went to Oklahoma, it's literally been just trying to make our race car better, when to make changes. I haven't been 100% perfect. I need to be more aggressive as a crew chief and a driver, but we got to run that dash, and I feel like we made a lot of progress. We did a lot of things similar to Oklahoma, just to get some drive, forward bite, and help our car build momentum, and almost won it. Started 3rd, ran 2nd, felt like we had a pretty good pace the whole time. And I wish we were starting on the front row because I feel like we could kind of just control the race if we got out front. But this one tonight, we are gonna have to work for, so I'm gonna make my last few changes to the car, get our stagger all dialed in, and then we will be heading out for tonight's finale. This should be good. Good to go. Well, climbing in, 20 laps, ended up making some last minute adjustments. High risk, high reward. That's all I can really say. So racetrack's starting to rubber up down low, and we're gonna be rolling off from the 2nd row. So it's probably gonna be difficult to pass, so we kind of threw a little curveball into the setup to try to find some extra speed. If it works, we're gonna be lights out. If it doesn't, I think we'll still have a good shot, but no matter what, we're gonna have to race our way to tonight's win. Well, it was a really long day. A really disappointing ending to our run here in Salem. Ended up finishing 5th. Considering everything that took place, I mean, I guess we still salvaged a top 5, but as a race car driver, when you go places, when it pays money, I mean, like, you're there to cross the checkered flag first, and anything other than that is technically not a successful night. And I actually feel like the driver ran good today. It was the crew chief, and when I'm talking crew chief, I'm talking about myself. I just don't think I gave myself the race car I needed probably to have a chance at dominating and getting out front and just kind of doing my thing. We made that risky call right before we rolled out. It was a good call. We just did not end up with enough stagger. So as the race went on and as my tires got hotter, like, I was literally just, it was harder and harder to turn, and you can tell by the wear on my front tire and how it wore. I mean, that right there shows you I'm just too tight. And so I was kind of just like, okay, if my car could have rotated, I would have been fine. And the 4-stroke also doesn't help because it has so much grip. So when you're tight, like, it actually hurts you, where a CR500 has more wheel spin. So I just couldn't do what I needed to do, and then finally got to 2nd, and I knew I was gonna have to make something happen on a restart. And, you know, probably, you know, it was definitely a risky move. I tried to almost make it like 3 wide, and, you know, I never want to crash anyone or take anyone out. I just know with the track we have, 1 lane around the bottom and a restart and everyone being aggressive up front, I feel like if I was leading, someone would have tried to do that to me. So I went for it, and unfortunately I ended up wrecking myself, and I went to the back and then was able to recover to kind of get back towards the front. And as I mentioned, if the crew chief would have done his job tonight and made it better throughout the day, and then also in the A main event, we might not have even been in that position. We wouldn't have had to try to be desperate or had to go a little bit for broke to make something happen on a restart or into a green flag run. But that's racing. We are in a sport of shoulda, coulda, woulda. So I accept responsibility for how things went. It was 100% my fault, and I ultimately should have been better. So thank you guys for watching. 2 5th place finishes this weekend, 1 in the state of California, 1 in the state of Oregon, and those were both, you know, 4 spots worse than we were hoping to be. But like I said, that is the sport of racing. So we're gonna do our homework. That was this car's last race of the season, but we're definitely gonna take notes on tonight if we're ever back here, and just, you know, have a better starting point. And then, you know, we just learned a little bit more about our race car and how we can kind of get it to do certain things. So thank you guys for watching. We will see you all in the next one. Deuces.